reason why I wrote this book is I think of myself as a very ordinary person. I'm not an activist. I am someone who basically loves his country and wanted to do something about it. I went through a lot of experience that I wanted to share with everyone, hoping that it would inspire people in doing something good or standing behind a good cause. And I hope that this eventually happened after you read the story. In the past, people, when they see something that frustrates them, they would communicate with their close circles, and these close circles end up with 10, 20, 100, 200 people. But now with technology, people are more empowered to communicate with much more people. When Khalid Saeed died, I got very disappointed. I was very sad and angry, and I felt that this is an injustice need to stop. I felt that I have to do my job. I have to help with the skills and experience that I've gathered for so many years. So I created a Facebook page, which, at the moment, I did not have any intentions but basically exposing the regime practices, thinking that the last thing dictators want is to expose their bad, their violations of human rights. And when that page was created, the first day 36,000 people joined it, and in 3 days 100,000 people joined it. And that was basically the power of social media, allowing everyone to come together, collaborate, and share their experiences, share their efforts in order to make change happen. I believe that this was a leaderless movement. This was a faceless revolution. I got a lot of credit, mainly because I was exposed to media after my release from the prison. Yet, I think that this was a revolution where tens of thousands of Egyptians have done amazing things. Before Jan 25th, tens of thousands of Egyptians have taken to the streets, and a lot of them wanted to sacrifice their lives for their dream to become true. And this is why I insist on this. This is why I named the book Revolution 2.0. This has nothing to do with technology, as many people might have thought. The name is basically referring to the fact that this was a leaderless movement. There was no Gandhi, there was no Martin Luther King. Everyone just, it was sort of a Wikipedia in a sense. People were contributing anonymously to a cause, and by this collective contribution, we ended up seeing what we saw. If this page did something, it was basically trying to help unite Egyptians. And one of the reasons why I created this page anonymously and why I wanted to be anonymous is this whole thing about personalizing the cause. The cause should not be personalized. The cause is stronger when it is just a cause that everyone is connecting with. No one is questioning the intentions. No one is trying to create smear campaigns to convince people not to join the cause. And this is pretty much what happened. When the invitation came out of the page on the 14th of January, I would say the best marketing campaign happened at the time, because everyone was using his skills and talents and experience in order to make sure that as many Egyptians as they could get go and join the protest on Tahrir Square. I believe that my memoir is not mine anymore. This is a story. A lot of things I've been exposed to happen behind the scenes, and this is part of the Egyptian people history, and they have to know about it. And also because I think since this was not a leader-based movement, a lot of us have been exposed to parts of the story. And in order to connect the puzzles, in order to know the real deal, what exactly happened throughout, from the 14th of January until the end of Mubarak regime, it's important that everyone tells their story, and then we connect these puzzles together. And I was hoping, as I just said at the very beginning, that this would inspire people to do something, to go beyond their own personal interests, to have a belief that the power of the people is greater than the people in power. Well, when I decided to write the book, it was a very spontaneous decision, which is pretty much most of my decisions, starting from creating the page of Khalid Saeed to taking parts of a lot of activities, were spontaneous. And I just thought, I'm going to write the book. I started talking to publishers, and one of the PR agencies in Egypt helped me. And then the publisher said, if this has to go on the anniversary of the Egyptian Revolution, you have to finish it as soon as possible. how long is it? It is 4 months. I've never written a book in my life, and I'm not a book reader, so it was going to be a very tough job. And at the time, I had a couple of friends. One prefers to remain anonymous, and the other, I mentioned in the book, his name is Muhammad Diab, who told me, I'm going to help you structure the book. He came up with this brilliant idea of, why don't you just go through the status messages that you have published on Facebook, that first make the story very authentic, because people are actually going through the real deal, and also it will help the chronological order of the story. That was a very good idea, and when I started writing the story, it was just flowing perfectly. Most of the logs I have on email or chat logs or on the Facebook page, pretty much the history was preserved, and it was just a matter of translating it from Arabic into English. It was a very tough job, I have to say, especially that it happens in the middle of what's going on in Egypt, and it was fairly affected by the events. I have to, at the end of the day, do my job as someone, as a revolutionary who cares about the future of the country, and at the same time honor my commitment to the publisher that I would finish the book in 4 months. It was quite an experience. I always tell my friends and everyone I meet in the street who ask me where's Egypt going, that we all have to be very optimistic, passionate, and patient. It's this country, we've achieved in 12 months what we have never thought would have been achieved throughout our whole life, and this is something we should not discount while looking at the developments. And optimism is critical, it's important, because I've never seen change happening with the hands of pessimistic people or skeptical people who think we are doomed. This is not taking us anywhere. This is why I remain optimistic. And to a large extent, I was looking at the developments even before the revolution, and I was still optimistic. I believe in the people, and I believe that now as Egyptians, a large number of Egyptians are no longer scared, are no longer afraid, have seen an amazing deal of sacrifice and passion, and believe that this country should go forward. I believe it will happen. We're all working together making this happen. The page now has 1.8 million followers, fans on Facebook, and I definitely maintain it as long as with other administrators to make sure that it's going in the right direction, telling people what is happening on the ground, as well as I make sure that I get the vibe of what's going on in the country through the news that are disseminated through my friends and the pages I follow. So Facebook and Twitter are my two main sources of news, and as well as analysis of what's going on the ground. Well, I'm not an author, and I think that I just want to help my country. I'm donating all the proceeds of this book to charity, and to also the families, partly the families of the martyrs and the injured people. I don't think I should become a millionaire out of a book that tells the story and the sacrifice of amazing Egyptians. And I hope that I will contribute positively in making sure that the democratic transition will happen as smooth as we could get it to happen, in addition to doing the changes a lot of the Egyptians are aspiring for.